How often do you go for an eye exam? Do you go every year? Do you make sure that you get that exam often? I know a lot of people who have vision issues. They have things like cataracts or macular degeneration or blindness. There are those who have glaucoma and all of these things that can go wrong. And I've been thinking about that this week, and so that's what we're going to talk about. How clearly do you see? How are the bends in your road? Sometimes we're moving too fast and they are hard to navigate, and sometimes we don't even see them coming. I hope your bends are smooth and gentle. But no matter how your road bends, I know that God will see us through. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to catch other videos along the way. Welcome back to the Bending Road. I'm glad you could join me today. It's been on my mind this week about seeing clearly. A few weeks ago, Dave's been talking about cataracts for a while, and so a week or so ago, he went to see the doctor. Actually, it was just a couple of days ago. He went to see the doctor, and they're going to talk about cataract removal, and that's a little scary. It's a little scary, but it's troublesome when you can't see clearly. I know other people who are dealing with other sorts of issues like macular degeneration and cataracts and glaucoma and all of these things. So all of a sudden, I started having this difficulty in my right eye. Started actually with seeing floaters, and I thought, well, that's weird. I had never experienced that before. That went away, but ever since, my right eye has really struggled. So I finally broke down and went to the doctors today, and I'm glad there's no cataract. Someday it'll happen, but the pressures were fine. All of that is fine. But he noticed that there's some dry eye issues. There's some other things just to watch. And we'll keep an eye on those over the next few weeks and months and see how they go. But the dryness in the right eye, he thinks, is the real culprit to the blurriness, the fuzziness, the discomfort in that eye. So he's prescribed some drops. We'll see how that goes. But when I was thinking about what to talk about today, I thought, what is the one thing that's first and foremost on my mind all the time recently? Well, it's vision. It's our eyesight. And I keep thinking of that song, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Well, I would love to see clearly. I am not seeing clearly out of that right eye, and that's really problematic. And of course, Dave is not seeing clearly because of the cataract, and we'll, get that taken care of in a while. A few weeks ago, we sang in church, "Turn your eyes upon Jesus," and the things of earth will grow strangely dim. And I said to the folks, the things of earth should grow strangely clear. They should be very clear, right? When we turn our eyes on Jesus and we see the truth, and the truth is right there in front of us. It's like how they teach you to learn what a counterfeit bill is, not by looking at counterfeits, but by looking at the real one. And you know all of the details about the real one. You know the truth of that real bill. Then you can spot a counterfeit just like that. I believe the same is true spiritually. When you know the truth, when you study the Word, when you spend time in prayer, in Bible study, in reading, and really, really get close to the truth, Jesus, then you can spot the counterfeit just like that. Somebody says something and it rings in your ear. That's not true. That is not the truth because it doesn't align with what I know to be true. There are other songs that we know, favorite songs, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. I once was blind, but now I see. Open my eyes that I may see. We sung that in church recently, and I just that idea of seeing clearly. made me think of the man. Jesus came to Bethsaida, and in Mark 8, and people brought him a blind man, and he asked to be healed. Jesus laid his hands on the man, and he says, can you see now? He says, well, I see people. They look like trees walking around. Well, I'll be honest, right now, I'm seeing those trees because of all this stuff they put in my eyes this morning. But Jesus prayed for him again. And he said, can you see? And the man said, yes, his sight was restored. Matthew 6:22, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. That idea that spiritual vision is important. We need to have the eyes of our heart, knowing the truth. If we're healthy, if we're seeing the truth, then our whole body's healthy. Isaiah 32:3, then the eyes of those who will see no longer be closed, and the ears of those who hear will listen. Oftentimes the scriptures are saying those who have ears, let them hear. If you have eyes, you need to see. The clarity and the promise that God is going to open our eyes. But we need to have that relationship with him, right? That doesn't happen until we're in relationship. There are things that those who are outside the will of God, outside of Christ, can't see. That those things are not clear. Ephesians has a great prayer. I pray that the eyes of your heart will be enlightened. That the eyes of your heart will be enlightened. And Psalm 119, your word is a lamp to my feet, a light to my path, so I can see clearly. Proverbs 4:25, let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze before you. To see, we need to see that truth. We need to understand what that truth is so that we have something to compare it to. It was really interesting when I went to the doctor's this morning, and he's messing around with my eyes, and they're putting all these drops in my eyes and doing all these things. I was looking out. I was waiting for the doctor to come back, and I was looking out in the hallway, and I could see motion. I could see people were moving. I could tell the figure of people, but I couldn't see exactly. I couldn't have told you if it was a man or a woman. I couldn't tell you if they were dressed in scrubs or street clothes. I couldn't tell you what they were doing. And that's true about spiritual things. We see things. There's some level of truth. I know that's a person, but I can't tell you any more than that. Same is true for our spiritual eyes. We hear something and we think, oh, that has a ring of truth to it. But if we don't know the truth, if we don't know exactly what we're looking at, if our spiritual eyes are not clear, then we will not be able to tell if this is false or if this is true. It's so important in this day with things like deconstruction and different things. People are taking that which we thought was true and saying it's not, and deconstructing it and saying this isn't real. Now, I believe that it's important to look at Scripture, to look at, this is what I've always thought to be truth, but is it? And reading things in context. Where do I have that belief? So let's just pick a simple thing, like salvation comes from faith alone. Let's just take that. Okay, I believe that. I've known that all my life. But why? Why do I believe that? Where do I get that from? And going back through the scripture and saying, okay, this is how I prove that to be true. You hear people say that the world has always existed, and that plants and animals just came into being through evolution. But others say that the Genesis account is real. Well, I've always believed that Genesis account is real. Why? Well, it's important maybe to go back and read it and to see what Scripture says about that, to see what other theologians say about that, and not in questioning what the Scripture tells me, but questioning what I believe to be true. Why do I believe that to be true? Not looking to deconstruct it and make it say something else, but to find out for myself some of these things. It's important to see things clearly. When I had to drive home after my eye appointment, and that was tough. I mean, I could see enough to drive, but I wouldn't have been able to go long distance. I was getting tired just focusing. You have to focus so intently. You have to work so hard. And the reality of Scripture is that when you get to know Scripture, when you spend time in the Word and study and spend time in prayer and listening to good, solid biblical preaching, you don't have to work quite so hard at it. Sometimes there's parables that a while ago it was really hard for me to understand, but I've spent enough time with them that I don't have to work so hard. I get it. I see the truth in those parables. Maybe there's other ones that I should spend more time with. I don't think we're ever done learning. I don't think we're ever done. It's like our eyes. We're never done fine-tuning. We're never done getting a checkup and seeing how we're doing. One of the things that the youth group was doing this past year was it was a person, place, or thing, and I would give descriptors from the Scripture, and they had to guess the person, place, or thing. Well, it's interesting because that really challenged me. I thought, I can do this. Well, I started reading some of the clues, and I thought, I can't. I don't know what this is. I don't know what they're trying to say here. And so it challenged me to take those cards and study them a little bit and look up the Scripture references that they give and how do they come to that. Just gave me another creative venue to learn more. The point here is, how is the health of your spiritual eyes? Are you seeing the things of God clearly? But also, are you seeing the things of the world clearly? How are you doing with that? Seeing clearly is so important. Again, I think, we could suffer from spiritual cataracts where things get cloudy, that we look at something, we think we know what we're looking at, but it's cloudy and we don't get the right image. Or maybe we have some form of spiritual glaucoma, where the pressure from the world is leaning in and it's distorting what we're seeing and could do damage. Are we letting the pressure of the world dictate what we believe and what we see? Maybe we have some downright spiritual blindness that we haven't looked at certain things, we haven't studied certain things, so we don't know what the truth is. We hear words used and we think, that word's familiar, but I don't know what that means. Well, it's time to find out. When we use word like evangelical is thrown around all over the place, but what are we talking about there? What do we mean by that? Even cultural words, not biblical words, but cultural words. Christian nationalism, what do we mean by that? Don't just shut it down and don't just embrace it. What do we mean by that? All sorts of things. Can you talk about God's grace? What is God's grace? What is God's mercy? What does it mean to be saved? Why are we baptized? We're going to talk some on Sunday about baptism and what that means. If somebody asked you, what does it mean to be baptized? Should I be baptized? How would you answer them? Or are we spiritually blind in those areas? Maybe we have some form of macular degeneration where our eyesight is honing in on one spot. I believe that's how that works. We're losing that peripheral vision. So we only see what's right in front of us. And that's good if we're looking at that light on the path, or we're keeping our eyes focused on Christ. We're keeping our eye on the prize. That may be important. But you got to be able to see the attacks of the enemy. You got to be able to see when the world is coming at you The problem with losing that peripheral vision is you can't see when something is coming at you, or you may bump into something. And maybe it's important that we make sure that that peripheral vision is right and clear. Are we seeing clearly? Now, I am not knowledgeable about the things of the eyes. So if I have one of those things wrong, go with the analogy. Just go with the analogy and ask yourself, are you seeing these things clearly? If you want to correct me on something, that's fine. I can take it. You tell me how it should work. But if you do that, I want you to come up with a better analogy for spiritual blindness, for spiritual eyesight, for spiritual clarity in vision. So if you're going to correct me on the medical, I want you to give me a really good analogy for seeing things in the spiritual world. I hope your eyesight is good. I believe that God can heal us. Dave and I have had a lot of conversation recently about why do we have to go to the doctors? Why do we have to have these things done? Why can't God just heal us? Well, God can heal us. I believe that. But I also know that God does not always heal us. Why? Don't know. That's his doing. That's his plan. His plan for my life. I'm not going to try to explain it. But I know he loves us. I know he cares for us. He wants the best for us. But I trust him. I just trust him to do what he's going to do. So I pray that your eyesight is good. I pray that my eyesight, whatever this issue is, improves. And I pray that Dave goes through his cataract surgery just fine and we can get that done before we travel. And if you need prayer, I would love to pray for you, whether it's a spiritual eyesight issue or a physical eyesight issue. Either way, I would love to pray for you. You have a great week. We will see you right here next week along the Bending Road. I am so glad we can travel along this Bending Road together. You can connect with me on social media or on my website at bendingroad.weebly.com. I would love to pray for you as you navigate the bends in your road. And when the bends in your road come, do not be afraid. Take the hand of God and keep walking. You are not alone.